Hello. Um, I will be talking about digital futures today. My name is Marley Hayes. My profession I'm studying is aviation, so I thought that choosing something that had to do with flying would be good. So I decided to choose flying cars because everyone knows that thought has been around forever, and I thought I'd get into some more research about it. I personally do think that flying cars will become mainstream. I'm not sure when, but it should be the near future. I think there will be a lot of impacts on our society when these do come out and launch, which I'll explain later in the presentation. And I believe that it will have an impact on my future career because obviously when you're learning how to fly a plane, it's a lot different than probably learning how to fly a car. So you'd have to go through a lot more schooling, and it would probably become more common if flying cars were a thing that everyone would know how to fly. So in my presentation, I'll be talking about, this is the table of contents. I'll be overviewing flying cars. I'll be talking about the impacts, what's going to happen in the future, a connection with the book Ready Player One, and then a final song to wrap it up, and then my works cited. So flying cars. Many companies around the world have been trying to test and launch flying cars for decades, and this concept of a flying car has been around as early as the 1980s. Aerospace engineers, they use electrical power to save weight, reduce emissions, avoid noise, and keep costs down. The key to a flying car would obviously be its vertical takeoff because it'd be easy to just leave one spot and land on another without having a runway. Um, eVTOL are what flying cars are. These are the models that they've came out with so far. It's basically looks like a helicopter, has abilities like one is able to hover and land vertically. There are three basic eVTOL designs, which are multi-rotors, lift and cruise, and a tilt. Multi-rotor designs were developed by a German startup Volocopter and a combination of Chinese EHang. This design is simple and safe, but there is a downside to it, which is that it travels slow and it consumes a lot of energy. The lift and cruise designs use rotors on wings. The wings give the aircraft longer range and higher speed. The tilt design, though, is by far the best they've come up with. There are propellers that are used as rotors for landing and takeoff and allow the aircraft to cruise like a plane would. It allows for the highest speed. It is more complex due to the transition from lift to cruise. And here's some images of what they look like. They do look very futuristic if you're looking at them, and they do have characteristics of a helicopter. Um, Actually, what I found was that on August 25th, 2020, this year, a Japanese company, Skydive Inc., successfully tested a manned flying car for the first time. The car's name is SD03. It took off and circled around the Toyota test field in Japan for about 4 minutes. This was the world's smallest electrical takeoff. The vehicle, when it lands, takes up about 2 parking spaces, and there are 8 motors to ensure safety in emergency situations. Here's a picture of what the SD3 looks like. It obviously can hold one man, but it does have propellers and stuff like an airplane would. Some impacts from what this flying car would give us is that flying car would be a societal progress. In the future, when flying cars launch, they're going to be very expensive, and that could create an income and wealth inequality. It could possibly be a potential danger because wealthy elites can choose to miss out on everyday experiences that everyone else would, and it would deepen the social segregation in the world. VTOL operations require tremendous amounts of energy, which I said earlier, and it would decrease the energy and resource consumption of the environment. Air traffic control obviously would need more upgrades because of the use of cars that would be up in the air, so it could reduce fatal incidences up in the air or accidents. So for the future, having flying cars in the future would be obviously a huge technological advance, but it would change society in many ways. People in society could possibly read different due to this because there would have to be major safety precautions to read over, and there'd be some kind of new traffic laws due. So I don't know if that would be either up in the air or in the actual vehicle itself. Making these new traffic laws would take some time, and they would have to be written down somewhere so people know that they need to follow them. The way people talk could change because of the transportation. If people needed taxis or Ubers or just simply to get to their own vehicle, they would have to figure out a way how to communicate that. Also in the future, road tests might look different because if this does become a norm, flying cars becomes a norm, there would obviously have to be different rules, tests for learning how to drive these things. Drivers would be seen more as pilots. Navigation systems, they did say they were going to be inside the vehicle, which could cause some problems, but I don't think it would. Also, having the ability to fly cars would obviously get people faster because planes can go up to speeds that cars cannot. And getting like to work or to school could be a lot quicker, more efficient. It would also just change the way people travel, basically. So some connections that I found from the book that we read, Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Ernest Cline really showed in the book how the future could look. I think the book was set in 2045. Ernest Cline saw that the future could decline in many ways, such as air pollution, overpopulation, hunger, many things that we already are struggling with, but just more serious. But a single passenger plane car provides fewer emissions than powered vehicles on the road. Battery-powered flying cars also generate lower levels of greenhouse gases, and having flying cars would reduce car traffic, obviously, because cars would be up in the sky. They could be on the ground. So the connection that I found was Ernest really said how air population was a huge thing, climate change was a huge thing, but obviously from flying cars, they have less emissions going up into the air, greenhouse gases, which could potentially fix our problem with the air pollution. Air quality would be better so that people could actually live their lives outside of their homes, do their day-to-day things, and it wouldn't just be in a video game. Another connection that I found was Ernest showed in the book how being wealthy could get someone further in the game, the Oasis, get them more popular, because having money, you could upgrade your looks, your weapons, your vehicles, many other things. You had more opportunities to get places because you could travel. But obviously in the future with flying cars, they are going to probably be pricey and expensive, and the wealthy class would most likely own them first. And it just really shows that the more technology we have and we bring into this world, the more objects will grow in price. This was the final song. I decided to choose this one because I thought it would be kind of cheesy and cliche, because having this song, you would really, it says life is a highway. And I thought that would be kind of funny, kind of ironic, because having flying cars, you wouldn't be on a highway anymore. Technically, you'd be up in the sky. So I thought that was a pretty good final song to wrap up this thing. Just make it lighthearted and stuff. This is my works cited. I have the three sources and the two sources, and that's it. That's my final project. I hope you enjoyed.